if you accuse a judicial officer who is still in office, sitting as a judge, of any offense that he has committed, especially collecting bribe, taking gifts, or inducement, to alter his judicial decision in the course of the performance of his judicial functions, if there is such an allegation against any serving judicial officer, then they said, look at section 153, look at section 158, look at the third schedule to the Constitution in paragraph 21 sub B that sets up the National Judicial Council. Personally, as I sit here, the concept of a National Judicial Council in a federation is an anathema, whereby there is a body sitting in Abuja appointing judges for Lagos, disciplining judges in Calabar. I don't accept that. But that's the constitution that the military has imposed on us. We are running a unitary system. Otherwise, every state should have power to appoint and discipline their own judges.
In that situation, do you think the NJC can protect its own?
No, of course, that's what they have done. This is what is happening now. They now say, look, today as we sit here, if you catch a policeman setting up an illegal roadblock, and in the course of setting up that roadblock, he collects bribe or is taking money from motorists and is arrested by the IG will not take him to court. Under the police regulations, they will conduct what they call orderly room trial. If a serving general in the army today is accused of insubordination, is accused of not carrying the orders of a higher officer, he will not be charged to court. He will go to a court martial. What the judges are saying, or this case is saying, is very simple. If you have an allegation against a judge relating to the discharge of his judicial functions, do your investigation. Furnish the report to the National Judicial Council by way of a petition. The National Judicial Council will look at it. If there is merit in that petition, they will discipline that judicial officer, either to remove him from office, either to punish him. After that has been done, the relevant security agencies will now pounce on that judge and proceed against him. Because the point they have made here is very clear.
Is that the only option for the EFCC?
That is it's not just for the EFCC. That's what the Constitution says. And look, we must clarify what is going on here. The power to charge a judge to court by the EFCC, by the Attorney General, by anybody at all, is not provided by the executive. It is guarded by law. In this particular case, Justice NGANJIWA was charged to court contrary to the criminal law of Lagos State, Section 89 of the criminal law of Lagos State. In other words, there is a law by which he was charged to court, and that law was made by the House of Assembly of Lagos State. So the Court of Appeal looked at that law and said there is an existing code for judicial officers made by the National Judicial Council under the Constitution. If that code has details dealing with same character of offenses that have been charged to court now under the law of the House of Assembly of Lagos State, there seems to be a conflict. And where do you resolve that conflict? You resolve it in favor of the Constitution.
If the NJC holds the knife, holds the bread, and holds the butter in this case, it seems to suggest so, and the EFCC is rather thwarted in carrying out and you say the only option for it is to look at that one option which you say will give the EFCC that leverage to begin to ask for prosecution through a letter, perhaps officially, to the NJC, and the NJC is able to look at it, and then you say that the NJC, in this case, seems to be protecting its own. How then can the EFCC, for instance, go through the Constitution? Because the Constitution is supreme over every other law. If the EFCC should go through the Constitution to adopt any of the sections, say 153 or 158 for that matter, do you think that the judge in question should resign and face trial?
Number one, before we get to that, sir, in the present situation we are facing now, especially this case, I'm limiting myself to this case of Justice NGANJIWA, there's no complainant. Nobody has come off to say he demanded bribe from me. No petition was written to say I gave bribe to him. The EFCC is the investigator in this case. The EFCC is the accuser. The EFCC is the one who charged the man to court. The EFCC is the prosecutor. So what the Judicial Council is saying is that let there be separation of powers. You can't cook up an allegation on your own, investigate it, make a conclusion, and then charge the person to court and you are prosecuting him. Because you are saying now that the judiciary is protecting its own. What the judges have expressed here, and I will read it to you. They say, look, there is a situation that is going on in the country now. that judges are under trepidation